The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hey everybody, guess what? I'd kill me. Anyway, it's good to see you guys again. I'm happy to be doing another video, and let's get to some current news, okay? So I literally an hour ago just turned in my latest manuscript to my publisher, Pro Se Productions. It's a new murder mystery book. It's called The Cork Brioche, The Cracked Glass. This was actually inspired by my current employment with Crate & Barrel, and I'm a specialist in the merchandise department. And in being there now well over a year, I just started getting this idea about a murder mystery taking place in a Crate & Barrel-esque store. And so the Cork Brioche was born. I hammered out the manuscript over, what was it, like 5 or 6 months? I think so, I can't remember. Well, today at 2 o'clock, finally turned it in, and I hope my publisher enjoys it. So if you're watching this, like I said in the note, if you don't like it, just lie. I'm good with that. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, so now that that manuscript is over with, move it to the side, I'm going to be working on the final Jackie Verona. Yay, finally! And I think I mentioned this in the previous video, but it is called The Dance of Lilith. If you happen to hear a dog right now, that's my boyfriend's dog, Bindi, which means that the mailman has just arrived. So let's just carry on, shall we? Anyway, so I have that coming up. And then I also have I think I have at least 14 or 15 different books that I have not written yet. So I'm cranking them out as fast as I can, I swear. In terms of my tea company, Viridian Tea Company, I do have a couple of new blends coming out, including a limited edition blend. And it was just inspired by my friends who are green thumbs. I used to have a green thumb and then I killed it. So now I'm trying to bring it back. So if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, then you'll be notified about the upcoming tea blends, upcoming books, all that kind of stuff. And if you also have favored my Etsy store, Viridian Tea Company, then you'll also know about the upcoming tea blends and books as well. And just a little shout out to the stores that continue to carry my tea blends. If you live in New Orleans, there's Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop. Yay! Yay, Candace. In Memphis, you have the Broom Closet. Yay! Stephen and Emily. And if you live here in Colorado, there is the Wheat Ridge Co-op, which I just gave them, I think it was last week, several bags of French cinema blend. Ooh. And also to my friend and one hell of an entrepreneur and a woman, Apothecary Fairy in Littleton. So if you do not care for Etsy, you can go to any of those stores to pick up my tea blends. But if you are into Etsy, you can pick up my tea blends through the Etsy store, and you can pick up most of my books in the Etsy store as well. There are a couple of titles that I need to replenish. But like I said, if you favored the store, you'll know when I update everything. So I think that's it for the update. So without further ado, let's get to the book portion. So this first book I read, and I actually got this back in January at Cosign in Colorado Springs, it really was a great convention. I can't stop talking about it. I hope I get invited back as a vendor. Just no pressure, no pressure. But one of the authors there was Adam Gaffen, and he sat to the right of me. And during the course of the weekend, we kind of talked a little bit off and on. We exchanged books. I gave him tea, all this kind of stuff. Well, I finally, because my TBR pile is huge, I finally got around to one of his books, and it's called Refuge. You can see me on the book. Sorry about that. So basically, I'm just going to read this to you. What would you do if you were hunted, despised, a vampire? You try to escape. Where do you go when the whole human race is against you? The future. but beware, you might not like what you find, and you can't go back. He told me, if I remember correctly, he said, vampires and time machines, what could possibly go wrong? And I thought, I need to read this book. I really do. And it's a thin book, and yet devoured it. I mean, really devoured it. At one point in my life, I think I've read over 300 to 400 vampire novels. And that's what got me into the whole goth subculture. But this was one of the few vampire books where I went, I didn't see this coming. This is really original. I really like the story. And I won't give anything away, but all you need to know is what he told me: vampires and time machines. That's all you need to know. The ending was bittersweet. And yet, as I've said this with other books, there was no other way to finish it. There was no other way to end it. And Adam, if you're watching this, this was a great read. And I just Refuge by Adam Gaffen. I give it Viridian Tea House's 4 pots of tea. Now, here's the thing. It would have gotten a 5. The only reason why I didn't give it 5 pots of tea is because I wanted more. So it's personal. Technically, it's a 5. It really is a 5. But I give it 4 pots of tea because I wanted to know more about the characters. I wanted to know more about this particular kind of vampire. And like I said, the ending, there was no other way to end it. And I just enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the form of the time machine too. That was really slick. I really liked that. So once again, Refuge by Adam Gaffen receives 4 pots of tea from Viridian Tea House. Excellent job. Actually, he is known for a sci-fi series called The Cassidy Chronicles, which I have book 1. It's in my pile. I swear I'm getting to it, Adam. I swear, I really am. I just have like several hundred books to go. But anyway, you can find Adam Gaffen on Instagram. We actually follow each other, and I think there's a link on his profile on where to order his books. So Refuge by Adam Gaffen. Once again, vampires, time machine. What could go wrong? Just saying. All right, so this next book, let me just say, oh gosh, and I should have written down the Instagrammer who made a post about this book, because it was her that led me to impulse buy this book, and I don't regret it. I don't regret spending that money. I'm gonna tag you on this video and the post. So if you watch this, thank you so much for talking about this book. My boyfriend and I both I think I read it in like less than an hour. He read it in like 30 minutes. So what am I talking about? Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village. Oh my God. Let me just say for the record, I am a big Edward Gorey fan. For those of you who are not familiar with that name, if you ever remember the animated opening to PBS's Mystery, we all know the woman on top of the concrete slab. Oh, oh, that was Edward Gorey. And also, he did the Gashly Crumb Tinnies. A is for Anna, who fell down the stairs. B is for Basil, assaulted by bears. It's the full alphabet. 26 children getting murdered in horrific ways. That's what this book reminded me of, and yet completely different. This book appealed to my murder mystery writing side. Is there murder? I swear, I do that in the house so many times. I'll just walk up to my boyfriend and be like, this looks like a good day for murder. Anyway, This appeals to my murder mystery reading and writing side. This appeals to my goth side. This appeals to my strange and unusual side. And this is just a really good guidebook. So let me just read the back of it. And just to give a shout out, the author is Maureen Johnson and the illustrator is Jay Cooper. So let me read the back of it for you. Ooh, it's getting warm in here. I'm getting all excited about the book. Considering a trip to a quaint English village, a weekend roaming narrow old lanes, touring the faded glories of a country manor, and quaffing pints in the pub, how charming. That is, unless you have the misfortune of finding yourself in an English murder village where danger lurks around each picturesque cobblestone corner, and every sip of tea may be your last. I would be so screwed. Let me just say that. If you insist on your travels, do yourself a favor and bring a copy of this little book. It may just keep you alive. This, I won't read parts of it, but here's one of the illustrations of the book. I mean, this was just the cutest little creepy book. Let's see, so the different sections of the book are a note to the gentle reader, the village, which includes buildings and spaces, the residents of the village events, and a village quiz on how not to get murdered. Then we have the manor, which includes building and spaces, rooms and architecture, furnishings and features, the residents of the manor, frequent guests, the staff, manor events, and the manor quiz on how not to get murdered. And then finally, the final thoughts. This was a charming little book. In fact, I wanted to get a specific box of Earl Grey tea and just read this while listening to very creepy classical music. Excuse me. Gotta love social media. Anyway, perfect little slice of poison cake. Seriously, this is one of the few books where, no, I take that back. This is one of the many books that I just rant and rave. Like, I love this book so much. I actually took it to my job where I showed it to my manager, the assistant manager of my department, and also one of my coworkers. And they all went, this is something I'd read. I'm like, I know, that's why I showed it to you. So your guide to not getting murdered in a quaint English village receives Viridian Tea House, 5 pots of tea for an excellent job regarding how not to be murdered. But this, I just have to say too, this reminds me of every Agatha Christie book I've read. This also reminds me of the Charles Lennox series that I simply adore. If you have not read that, but you're looking for a good mystery series, it's written by Charles Finch. I think it's Finch or Fitch, but it's the Charles Lennox Victorian series. I think I'm on book 5 right now. I'm not sure. So, your guide to not getting murdered in a quaint English village by Maureen Johnson, illustrated by Jay Cooper. Little slice of poison cake. It was just perfect. It really was. And speaking of Earl Grey, I'm not going to be reviewing a tea this time, but I did make a nice cup of one of my favorite teas, Earl Grey, which, as you know, is black tea and bergamot oil. And I find that even people who are not into tea know about Earl Grey. It's just a very common, and not common as in bad, but common as in people know about it. And it just has a great taste to it. One thing that I've noticed is that no 2 Earl Greys taste the same. So far, and I know there's a plethora of Earl Greys out there. There's Bigelow, which I have to say is my all-time favorite, and I do want to admit that every time I open up a bag of the Bigelow Earl Grey, I sniff the bag because when I was younger, I used to think this smells like Fruit Loops, and I loved it. I love putting a ton of sugar in it, making it really, really sweet, which I know some tea person out there is going, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. Bigelow, Bigelow Earl Grey tea is by far one of my favorites. Now, here's the thing. One of my all-time favorite tea companies, Smith Tea Maker, they did the jasmine nectar that I reviewed not too long ago. They have a Lord Bergamot, which is supposedly the best Earl Grey ever. So I'm thinking that probably this weekend I'm going to order a box of that, and who knows, it'll probably end up here being reviewed. Or I might just be like, get it, it's just really good. Just get it, it's awesome. So there's Bigelow, there's also Twinings. Now, personally for me, I find that the Twinings Earl Grey is not really as strong. It's very delicious, but it's not as strong in terms of the bergamot oil. Now, having said that, I love the Lady Grey of Twinings. Delicious. I could just drink cup after cup after cup and then wonder why I'm seeing time fold before me. The other Earl Grey that I like is the one that I made, and this is by Taylors of Harrogate. I really can't read, I swear. But this is one that I just recently purchased, and let me just show you the bags alone. I mean, that's just fancy. That's just fancy right there. And I had never really had this one before. I will freely admit I hadn't had it. I bought it a couple days ago and made myself a cup, and I went, ooh, yeah, that's good. That's really good. That's really good. So in all this talk about Earl Grey tea, there's also French Earl Grey, which I just learned about. I thought that a French Earl Grey meant that there was lavender added to it. I was wrong. According to the website myearlgrey.com, it's made with roses. I did not know that, so learn something new. I think a London Fog is an Earl Grey with milk. I think that's right. I think so. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's right. I wanted to do a little more research about Earl Grey tea, and so I found myearlgrey.com, and there was a history of, well, a so-called history about where Earl Grey tea came from. There's some speculations, there's some stories, not really sure if it's true or not. So rather than me plagiarize or read directly from the website, I highly recommend, if you're interested in learning about the origins of Earl Grey tea, go to My Earl Grey, and Grey is spelled with an E, as it should, myearlgrey.com. And just in looking at the website, I saw all kinds of articles about Earl Grey tea. So once I'm done with this video, I might be kicking back and kind of reviewing the website for myself. So once again, myearlgrey, spelled with an E.com, for all things Earl Grey tea. So I raised my Celestial Cherry Blossom Dragon mug. Got my tea in there as well. Oh, that's lovely. That really is lovely. You know, what's interesting is that it's getting kind of, well, it is warm here in Colorado, but with us, our humidity's kind of low. So yeah, it's hot, but you're not sweating like I used to back in New Orleans and in Memphis, where you walk out the door and it's like, oh, somebody took my breath. Here it's like, it's kind of hot. It's kind of hot. So interestingly enough, this tea is still hot, and yet I'm kind of refreshed by it. That's really good. That is quite good. So another venue dealing with tea I don't know. I think I've mentioned this before, but I am a subscriber to Global Tea Hut located in Taiwan. So not only do they talk about tea, they're all about the tea, but they're also a center of Taoism as well. So, excuse me, every month I receive a package, which that's the back of it. And I just got this in last night, so I'm really, really excited about that. But, so anyway, it's really nice because I receive a magazine and I also receive a tin of tea. And sometimes I'll add a little gift that can go with your tea accessories, like a cloth or a spoon to stir your tea with, or a matcha scoop, or just any little thing like that to kind of remind you that drinking tea, it's an art, and it's a time to slow down and reflect. And in that moment, you and the tea are together. Nothing else matters at that point. So much kudos to Global Tea Hut. Thank you so much for what you do. And I'm very, very happy to continue to receive packages from you. So I figured I would open this one up live. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so this is a song. So that was the tea for this month. If I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, I do apologize. I truly do. And the magazine, Phoenix Mountain Dan Kong Tea. That's the latest issue. So I'm looking forward to reading this. This is gonna be nice. One thing that I like to do, and I need to do more of it, is whenever I read the particular issue, I like to have the accompanying tea as well to kind of just enhance the effect of both the tea and the magazine. So I'll probably be doing that this Saturday. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, to everyone at Global Tea Hut. Thank you. Let's see if there might be anything else in here. Nope, I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. And now the final part regarding tea before I wrap this up is I wanted to talk about some of my tea blends that involve murder. One deals with my very successful and popular murder mystery series, Jackie Verona. For those of you who haven't read the first two books yet, it takes place in the 50s, around the time of the Beat generation, in a fictional city called Moon City. Jacqueline Verona, or Jackie to her friends, is an author, and she's also a lover of jazz, and she also solves murder. And I'm gonna keep doing this, so if you're getting tired of it, I'm sorry. So she is married to Clovis, who is a jazz musician, and her friend, her best friend in the whole world and sidekick, Monica, or Mooney, is a photographer, world traveler, lesbian, and her Watson to Jackie Verona Sherlock. There are two books so far. The first one is called A Murder of Gypsies. The second one is called The Devil's Music. And like I said earlier in the video, I'm about to work on the third one, The Dance of Lilith. So Jackie is also a tea drinker, and I put a tea house in Moon City. So Jackie's special is the tea that they serve in the tea house. And just to let you know, the ingredients are Tumoy purple leaf tea from the good folks at Asami Tea. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Lemongrass, dried cranberries, and ginger. So the tea and the first two books of the Jackie Verona series are available in my Etsy store, Viridian Tea Company. Well, Etsy, but yeah, it's no spaces, just Viridian Tea Company. And if you can't remember that, please send me an email or comment on this video, and I'll be more than happy to send you a link. So Jackie's special. And then the other tea blend that I did involving murder is I'm a big fan of the original Clue game. Oh, gotta love technology. There we go. I'm a big fan of the Clue game. You know, it was Colonel Mustard in the kitchen with the revolver. It was, what was it? Miss Scarlet with the candlestick in the conservatory. Love it. You know, and in fact, I actually thought about getting the cards from the game and just using them as bookmarks. So this other tea blend that I created is called The Butler Did It. And this is a black tea with lavender, hibiscus, and rose hips. So Jackie's Special and the accompanying books and The Butler Did It are all available in my Etsy store, Viridian Tea Company. So if you're looking for a cup of murder, then you can find these two blends and the books available. All right. So let's go from all of that to the final part of the video, which is the meditation. And just the typical tea meditation that I like to do. Make sure you have your favorite cup of tea in one of your favorite mugs. Find yourself in a comfortable position. And then start with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then with each sip, just pause in between. Allow the tea to really kind of get to know your mouth. See what you can taste. See what comes out in full force or what stays behind. And then after you swallow the tea, see what lingers. How does your mouth feel? How do you feel? That kind of thing. So this is just a little break from your day to just enjoy a nice tea break. So, without further ado, let's begin. I'm going to do one extra sip because I just need this today. And we're back. Thank you as always for taking the time to look at these videos. I truly do appreciate it. If you can't tell, I have a lot of fun making them, and it means a lot to me to know that you guys enjoy watching my silly antics. And for the record, I don't edit any of this. So like the last week, I just cussed up a storm. And this time, you know, just giggles. I mean, it's supposed to be fun, you know? I hope that with these videos, you learn about a new book, you learn about a tea blend that you would like to try. You learn a little bit more about tea, and I hope you just feel a little bit better after watching it. So once again, much thanks to Maureen Johnson and Jay Cooper. Thank you so much. And also much thanks to Adam Gaffen. Thank you. And also to the company Taylor's for a delicious Earl Gray. And also to the folks at Global Tea Hut, thank you for what you do. Thank you. And one final thing before I go. I just want to give a shout out to the women of Blue Cypress Books in New Orleans. Thank you so much for doing what you do. Thank you. And I keep looking at one of the stickers that they gave me in a recent order of mine. So I'm going to end with this. Bad bitches read good books. Until next time, raise your teacup high, treat yourself well and each other, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.